This is it right here.
Combining a team of reporters, columnists, and commentators.
Don't you ever talk about me!
Are you serious?
Jack Ebling has brought thought-provoking discussion.
What are you doing?
That's a damn coaching mistake!
Opinion.
The customer is the one who decides when the future gets here.
Oh, no!
The ship is on fire!
You have to check the report.
Are you kidding me?
That game was fixed.
And overall infotainment.
I'll take Jim Harbaugh.
What has he done?
Crazy Cootie coming at you.
Quiet, please. In exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
Thanks, big fella.
Don't you ever come back here again.
No arguments. Those are called ass tunes.
So buckle up.
You talking to me?
It's time for The Drive with Jack Ebling.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Great afternoon, Mid-Michigan and beyond, and welcome to The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob, on Thursday afternoon. That would be May the 5th. 46 degrees here in Greater Lansing, and wet, very wet. Backyards are flooded, but it's supposed to be nice 5 of the next 6 days, I think, Rob. I saw in the 60s, so really looking forward to that. I know some people already planning their first golf of the year outdoors.
Got to talk about your jacket. We're on YouTube right now, live on YouTube, and this is what type of jacket is that?
I haven't seen that. That's a Final Four jacket.
It is a Final Four jacket. I thought it might be like a World Cup. I know what a soccer aficionado you want to be one day.
I look like a big soccer ball, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, very nice.
This is
What year is that for the?
This is from Indy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
March Madness indeed.
I have quite a collection of Final Four garb. I used to wear a Final Four hat. I'd get a new one every year.
Yeah.
But this year I said, nope, I'm going to go with the Champions Classic look.
Okay.
So that's what you've been seeing here, right?
Right, exactly.
From Madison Square Garden.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Excellent.
Yeah, I actually stuck around a little bit longer after the basketball games there, Rob.
Yeah.
And I went and saw a Broadway show. I went and saw Hadestown.
Oh,
from
nice.
Row 5.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think you sent me a couple of pictures.
I think I did.
You did.
That's
yes.
right.
Yeah.
And then I wound up doing the show that day, standing in Times Square.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And what a show that was.
Want to welcome in Tony Garcia from the Detroit Free Press. Does a great job covering the, we can say it, outright Big Ten champion University of Michigan basketball team. Tony and the Wolverines tonight in Carver Hawkeye Arena, final regular season road game. You made it from New Orleans to Iowa City, okay, right?
I would have. We've got a court hearing tomorrow morning here in Ann Arbor. So for Sharon Moore, and with the Wolverines having already locked up,
I gotcha,
the Big Ten title and 4 to 5 day trips over the next 4 weeks. We felt my services were needed here in Ann Arbor. So I have been to Carver Hawkeye. I like it. It's a good spot.
Yeah.
But it's just one of the more difficult places to get to as well. And with an 8 p.m. tip, and then what was, at the time, it's been rescheduled for 11 a.m. tomorrow, but it was originally a 9 a.m. flight. There was nothing that was going to get me back in town in time.
Normally, at this point in March, you would be looking at things on the court, not in the court. But with Sharon Moore, I guess you never know, right?
That's how it's been going.
What's the latest on that before we get into basketball? We know that there was an appeal made saying that some testimony was not properly conveyed. What do you think he is going for here, and what are his chances of getting it?
Yeah, so tomorrow there's going to be an evidentiary hearing that was granted when he was in court on February 17th. Yeah. And again, I was not in that court date because I was down in Purdue, so you got to pick and choose when you're going to be where. I think, thankfully, for most people, there's only one of me, and so can't be in both places at once. But yeah, so the judge granted the defense's request for a hearing, and essentially their argument was that when law enforcement was presenting their case to the magistrate to bring charges against Sharon, that they left out notable evidence, chief among it that they were presenting stalking charges, and they did not disclose that the woman in this case had worked for and directly reported to Sharon Moore. And so the defense is arguing that he was contacting her during work hours. She had just responded to work messages in the recent past, and that these phone calls, there was, I believe, 11 of them that went unanswered, were in succession during work hours, and since they were unanswered, there's no way to know if they very well could have been work-related, is their argument. And that also saying that the information, they said that some of the information presented from her lawyer, his assistant's lawyer, they said was, I believe, reckless was the word, and just untrue as it pertained to the stalking that had been happening that the prosecution alleges. So tomorrow we're expecting Sharon in court. We are expecting we don't use the word victim in this case, but the assistant in court who we are expecting to testify tomorrow.
The plaintiff?
And so, yes, the plaintiff. Very good. Yeah. And so we will be we will see how the judge responds. It's going to be a long day.
Tony, is Sharon denying the fact that there was an illicit relationship, a prohibited relationship, or has not come up yet?
So, according to police, the police have reported that he did acknowledge to them, and so did the plaintiff, that there was a relationship. So, both parties have not publicly acknowledged it, but in documents that the Free Press has obtained, police have stated that both parties have acknowledged it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very curious to see how this turns out, because obviously the woman involved, and people know her name, but in terms of why she wouldn't answer these 11 calls from, I guess you'd have to say, her boss, right? Unless she just thinks that she can do her own thing at work, or maybe she didn't think it had to do with work. So I'm anxious to hear the testimony here, if there is, and we've seen Sharon at arraignments, and we've heard him state his name. He knows that. But I don't know if we have really heard from either party yet publicly, have we?
We have not. No. Sharon has only stated his name 3 times when he was being arraigned on the charges, and in both of his court appearances, the follow-up hearings. So 1 in December, 1 in January, 1 in February. This is the March iteration, and the woman in this case has not been in attendance, has not been, well, the public knows, she has not been formally publicly identified in this matter. So she has not given her piece as well, and there's a chance that both could happen tomorrow.
Yeah, interesting. So if Sharon's appeal here is successful, would that lead to maybe dropping or diminishing the criminal charges?
It could lead to possibly dropping all of them, because the primary charge that they are trying to get dropped is the stalking charge, and he's also charged with 3rd-degree felony home invasion. And the basis of that is, for 3rd degree, it is intent. It is it's breaking and entering with intent to commit a misdemeanor. The misdemeanor that was listed on the charges was stalking. So if the stalking that had premeditated this does not exist, then there's a chance that could also be dropped. But of course, prosecution can bring other charges in this at any time. So there are a number of ways in which this could go.
Well, we have seen something similar. These cases are not identical. Some people want to make them identical, but we have seen Mel Tucker and the Brenda Tracy case, where a judge said that she didn't have the case that she thought she had. And so from that standpoint, but he's taken it a step further and is suing for wrongful dismissal. He wants his money. Would something like this, if Sharon Moore was successful, impact his contract settlement with the University of Michigan and being fired for cause?
It's a good question. I don't believe so, because he violated his contract outright by not, and the University of Michigan policy, by not admitting to a relationship that was ongoing within his department, and then lying about it to the higher ups, and so I don't think he'd have much of a case there. But should he get these criminal charges dropped, then I think it would certainly help his own personal journey and his quest, which I imagine would be to find his footing again in the college football, or in the football coaching ranks somewhere. And then you could, it would be more easily explained away as a bit of a mental break of sorts, and that you've been going to therapy and doing all the requisite work on yourself in order to ensure something like this does not happen again. We know, nobody is saying that it's okay to cheat on your spouse. However, in athletic circles, people have gotten away, unfortunately, with far worse.
It's actually fairly common. I think if you look around the country, you'll find, many instances of this happening. And I think we have also seen, Tony, we certainly saw it here with all of the Nassar survivors. We saw it at Michigan with the Anderson survivors. We've seen it at Ohio State and USC. Not to say that these people would not have received a same amount in judgment, but universities don't want these things going all the way. In some cases, they didn't want the attendant publicity. They want to try to settle these cases, and a lot of people think that could be some settlement here in the Tucker case. And maybe if Sharon has an aggressive attorney and wants to push that, it'll never have a complete deposition and the trial for it, but it might improve his chances of getting a better settlement from U of M.
It could.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk basketball. Can we do that? You were in New Orleans watching, I assume you found a television there, Michigan and Illinois. That was about as impressive a performance as we have seen in the Big Ten this year. Certainly, Illini fans thought that they had something that they didn't get that night. Would you say that was Michigan's best game of the year? I know they beat Gonzaga by 40, but...
Yeah, there's a lot to pick from, right? Yeah. So certainly on the short list of them, I still go to the one at Purdue as well. Now, Purdue has been scuffling. Yeah. You could argue that, sometimes a team can sort of break another's spirit, and I'm not sure that Michigan didn't do that to Purdue and expose some things. But no, this was, it was just sort of one of Michigan's classic, what I've been referring to as their boa constrictor performances, where they just squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, and all of a sudden you look up and, it's a 3-point game, it's a 6-point game, it's 9, it's 12, you look up and you're down 15, and it feels like there's just no way back, right? Like, nobody has come back on Michigan. The two games that they've lost, Wisconsin was in it pretty much the whole way. Duke, the same thing. Once Michigan gets a lead, nobody's a notable lead more than a couple possessions. Nobody's been able to overcome anything of those sorts.
Well, Michigan State was down 18, right, and came back and actually took a 2-point lead, but then couldn't hold it.
That's right. That was the one. That was the one where a team did come back, but again, used all their energy in doing so. Yeah. And I do believe that Michigan learned from that experience. And I always think that's like a little cliche, like saying like learn from, like how do you know? But I just feel like I just keep going back to that Purdue game. They led by 16 at both halves. You know that the team is just like a very capable. Purdue, I would say, is more capably offensively than Michigan State is, and yet they just never even let them.
Yeah.
Get any
Purdue was
momentum
ranked number
of any
one in the
sort.
nation in offense on the Ken Palm, right, at that point?
Yeah. And then Illinois was recently too. and they couldn't do it either. So no, I mean, incredibly impressive. The only bad thing that came out of it, and it's not nothing, was losing L.J. Kaysen.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be putting your Elliot Cadeau theory to the test here pretty soon.
So who is the backup point guard tonight? Is it Yaxel? Is it Roddy Gale? Is it somebody else?
I'd put Trey McKinney on that list as well.
Okay.
I'm interested to see how Michigan goes about that. I mean, they have a couple of options there. I would personally, Roddy would be my third option of those three. Now, Trey has not been great when operating as the primary ball handler. I think he's really more suited as a two, but he has played point guard in high school and things, and so he is capable. But I mean, last year Michigan ran a ton of offense through Danny Wolf, and Yaxel has some similar. I mean, they're not the same player, but similar traits. A big who can pass. I think Michigan is well equipped in this standard or in this way to overcome this because they like to run a free flowing offense. This is not losing Braden Smith or Jeremy Fears Jr., someone who is like, we need this guy to facilitate our offense, or we don't know where it's going to come from. So I think Elliot Cadeau, who's been playing 25, 26 minutes a night, maybe that's 30, 29-30, so squeeze 4 more minutes out of him, and then run 4 minutes sort of through Yaxel, steal a few with McKinney, let Roddy handle a couple of possessions, and they can find their way to it. But I'd say that's probably the primary thing I'm watching tonight, with Michigan having locked up a 1 seed of a Big Ten outright title, the 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament. I mean, obviously you want to win every game, but I think the most important thing is that Michigan finds a new way to function with that second unit.
We know that Jeremy Fears Jr. is more effective when he is playing 30 to 32 minutes than 36 to 38 minutes. Would you say Cadeau is in the same category? He's going to be much better if he's playing closer to 30 than closer to 40?
Yeah, I'd say just about anybody is, right? But no, I would certainly put him in that camp as well. And then also there's a question. I mean, he's had a little bit. I mean, not a true proclivity, but he has been vulnerable to a couple of quick fouls, some head scratching decisions that have made him have to hit the bench. And Michigan hasn't been hesitant to do it because they know they have a very viable second option behind him. But now, should Cadeau, for any reason, be off one night, or which he has been at times, I think he's been very good, but he's had a couple of stinkers. If one of those comes, or if he picks up a couple ticky-tack fouls, and then that's when Michigan, I think that's when they'll really have to try to buckle down and find some answer. And it might just be survival and hold things even until he's back on the court.
Well, Michigan has been as deep as any team in the country with 9 quality players, and if it's down to 8, it's not like they're playing with the 6-man rotation, right? I mean, they still have guys coming off the bench who would help a lot of other programs, probably be starters.
Oh no, exactly. And in Dusty May fashion, I mean, he is a guy who will choose to look at everything sort of glass half full. I mean, he said as much at Purdue. He said that he's used the word spin. He's like, we're going to spin everything. Like even if it's a negative, he's like this Yaxel. Like when Yaxel made the headlines for the video that was recorded last May about him trash talking some Purdue fans. Even though Yaxel explained to me like a kid had come up to him at a local establishment and told him his Purdue friend was talking smack, and he asked him to send this video and to say these things. And so, I mean, Yaxel's got to know better than to do it, but he did. And so Dusty Evans, like, that's a learning experience for him. And Michigan is, and now he's saying, like, I mean, and it's kind of true. I mean, a 9-man rotation is very deep, right? Like, I mean, how many times have Michigan State fans and those around the program, I don't know about complained about Izzo, but Izzo likes to keep a lengthy. When he can, he keeps a deep rotation, and then it doesn't allow everybody to get in the flow of the game.
Exactly.
And now with 8, you can. But Dusty's like, everybody had just been playing so well, we couldn't. I mean, we felt they all deserved the minute. Not like, oh, you've earned it, but like we feel there's something you can do to help us.
Sure.
And so no, 8 is still plenty to get this done. They're by no means out of contention for everything they want, but the margin of error has slimmed. It just happened.
Mm-hmm. What chance do you give Iowa tonight? Any?
5%.
Okay, what do the Hawkeyes have to do to make this a late second half game?
They got to win the battle of who is imposing their style of play on the matchup. I mean, it's still hard to wrap your mind around. It's like how Wisconsin football likes to pass the ball now, and it's just such an odd thing. Iowa is like Fran McCaffrey's no longer there.
That's
Ben
right.
McCollum.
That's right.
And
Totally
play one of the slowest tempos in the entire country.
Yeah.
I think it is the slowest of all power conferences.
Yeah.
And Minnesota gave Michigan a little bit of problem when they came to Chrysler a couple weeks ago and did that and didn't let Michigan free flow and run and gun.
Right.
You need to limit possessions against Michigan because the more possessions, the more opportunities, and then with the more opportunities, the better team will more often win out. But if there are fewer chances, then it just gives you that much more ability to sort of keep things tight late and then pull one out. So Iowa's got to keep this game in the low 70s. I mean, like if a team is getting to 80, Michigan will win.
Yeah.
I think they're going to win no matter where it gets to.
Right.
But Iowa's got to keep this thing very slow and methodical and just sort of lull Michigan to sleep is my estimation. And they need maybe 25, 30 from Bennett Sturts. Outside of that, I just don't know how they could possibly win.
Yeah, I told someone today that I don't think Iowa can beat Michigan. Michigan would have to beat Michigan, or Michigan would have to certainly help Iowa beat Michigan, and I don't see that happening. But after the game tonight, you got a flight back, and then you don't, but the team does, and then the turnaround for a late Sunday afternoon game with Michigan State. And you know where the rivalry is now. What kind of environment do you expect? Students back from spring break in time?
Yeah, I mean, I think those who can be will be. I expect. I mean, Chrysler's never going to be in the top tier of environments in the Big Ten. It's just not. Yeah. But I think it will be the best that it is capable of, which is upper half, upper half, somewhere between 6 and 9. Which for Big Ten standards, that can still be pretty hostile. And I mean, I know they're going to be giving it to Jeremy Fears, obviously, and
Tom Izzo,
and. Yeah, and Izzo as well. Yep, very, very much so. And so I expect it'll be a really good atmosphere. I don't think it'll be like Breslin or Mackey or Assembly Hall or any of those things. But I mean, I expect it to be pretty lively. I mean, if it's not lively for a Michigan State game when you have on Senior Day, when you have all these things to celebrate, late afternoon tip, CBS in March. Then I mean, fold the program or fold the fan base, right? Like this is what you hope for. This is everything you could hope for. A chance to, if they win tonight, they will be the first team in the Big Ten in 50 years to sweep the road slate. Mm-hmm. If they win tonight and then win Sunday, they'll be the first Big Ten team in league history. Obviously, the amount of conference games just expanded in 2019,
right.
But no team has won 19 games in the Big Ten. So it's just all these little things along the way, and that's not why you play for it. But you know these things, and it's just more chances to make history and be the first to do this and the first to do that since XYZ.
Yeah. Whenever you're the first to do anything, that has some significance, no question. I'm curious to see how long the post-game handshake goes. I've been taking some guesses on this. It's not going to be minutes, I'll tell you that. Do you have a guess how many seconds Dusty May and Tom Izzo will be engaged after the game?
Over under 1 second.
Okay.
I mean, I would set it at that. I don't think they're going to be exchanging many pleasantries. I mean, I'm almost more interested in pregame, right? Like because I mean, sometimes you'll catch up and talk with one another, and I mean, we have photographers who've gotten photos of the two speaking, and that can happen as much pregame as it does post.
That happened a lot with Tom Izzo and John Beilein. And happened a ton a ton with Tom Izzo and Tommy Amaker, a very good friend of his. But he certainly had tremendous respect for John Beilein. It didn't happen much with Juwan Howard.
Yeah,
and,
some,
a little,
but no, not to the same extent.
Yeah. I don't think that was there was no social relationship there, certainly. But it'll be interesting to see that and to see the reaction. And hey, there's a chance, I think a pretty decent chance, Tony. You probably know more about this than I do, that both of these teams could be in Buffalo. I know that there was talk that Michigan, if it had its choice as a 1-1, would want to be in Philadelphia. If it's not the 1-1, maybe it would still have say in that. But do you expect Michigan to start the NCAA tournament in Philly or in Buffalo?
Buffalo is my expectation right now. I don't see Duke. Unless North Carolina can beat them, I don't see, and that game is in Durham, I'm not holding my breath on that, and especially the way Duke outplayed North Carolina the first time and just gave it away late. I expect Duke to roll. And so I think they'll knock up the 1-1 seed overall, and then after that, it just goes based on geography. And even if you have a desire, and Buffalo is closer than Philadelphia, and so I'm fully expecting them to be in Buffalo. But wouldn't that be something if both teams were in Buffalo, and then and then maybe that could mean both teams would be in Chicago?
No, I don't think so. I think they'd both be in Buffalo, Tony, and then they would not be. From everything I've heard, they would not be as a 1 and a 2. If Michigan State is a 2 seed, they would not be in the same region. So they would be together for the first and second round, but then Michigan would definitely be in Chicago. We know that much. Michigan State could be in Washington, D.C. with Duke, could be in San Jose with Arizona. It's an uphill slog regardless of who you're meeting with those 1 seeds. They look pretty good. And I'll tell you, the team right now I really wouldn't want to play is Florida.
No, they've got to roll. The 1 seeds do feel separated from the rest of the pack, and I know. And last year, a year where we had 4 1 seeds representing the Final Four, I know we all you want to at least see a little bit of parity, and maybe someone get knocked off. I would be stunned, absolutely stunned, if 3 1 seeds did not make the Final Four. And I think it is more likely that 4 do.
More likely that 4 do than 2 do, right?
Oh, not even close. Not even close.
Going to be big fun. Tony, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Have fun in court tomorrow, and I will see you Sunday afternoon. I have a little bit of a streak going here. Seen every Michigan State basketball game for 57 years. So
just a little streak.
Just a little one, and it's we're going to get up to 110 here quickly. So I will see you Sunday afternoon at Chrysler.
Wow, thanks. I'll see you there, Jack.
All right. We're going to go to break, Rob, and when we get back, we're going to talk with the best high school football player I have seen from mid-Michigan. Okay, and one of the best I have seen in the state of Michigan, going back longer than I want to admit. But he is Randy Kinder from East Lansing, tailback for Lou Holtz at Notre Dame. Lou passing away at age 89. So many Holtz stories, and Randy's going to share his memories of Lou Holtz. Coming up next on The Drive with Jack.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Some great product here in early 2026.
You got it, Jack. Here at Chevy, we have, backed by popular demand, the all-new Bolt. Redesigned and back in full force for us. People are really excited about that vehicle. It did great for us in the past.
Great.
And then next door, the Nissan Sentra, completely redesigned for that model. Great fuel economy. It's going to be a hot seller for us.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graph of Okemos. They're making friends.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Amy here from One North Kitchen and Bar. Tuesdays are family fun night at One North. Kids under 12 eat free with the purchase of an adult entree. Bring the whole crew to One North in Lansing, Jackson, or now East Lansing. Good food, happy kids, and an easy win for the family every Tuesday.
Are you passionate about college sports? Foster Swift Sports Talk is your go-to podcast dedicated to addressing the hottest topics in college athletics, including recruiting practices, NIL, the trade portal, collectives, and revenue generation.
Join us as we bring you insights from student athletes, college head coaches, administrators, and other industry leaders as they share their experiences in this rapidly changing arena.
Our mission is to share information and help educate student athletes, parents, coaches, and other stakeholders with the knowledge, resources, and strategies they need to make informed decisions and maximize each college athlete's potential for long-term success. Check out our latest episode where we're joined by Alan True from 24/7 Sports to discuss Midwest recruiting. Like and subscribe to our YouTube and Facebook pages to watch all of our episodes, or you can give us a listen on any of your favorite podcasting platforms by simply searching Foster Swift Sports Talk. Until next time, I'm your host, Dave Russell.
Welcome back. It is The Drive with Jack, the Spotlight Radio Network. Jack Ebling here with my producer, Boston Rob. And we have some in-studio guests. You'll be seeing the Nesses from Idaho, the fabulous Flying Nesses. Will be with us shortly, but we want to talk with one of my favorite athletes from mid-Michigan. At East Lansing High School, not only was he the best high school football player I've seen from mid-Michigan, he was also a state champion track athlete. State champion. I guess it's just part of Randy Kinder's name. And then taking number 25 on to South Bend. How you doing, Randy?
I'm good, Jack. Thanks for having me, man.
I know we have talked better circumstances than this. Maybe even Notre Dame losing in the college football playoff would be better than this.
Definitely.
But when you think about Lou Holtz, what he meant to Notre Dame coming in and rescuing the program, but what he meant to so many of the players, when people ask you, what was Lou Holtz like? Can you summarize that in a couple hundred words?
Yeah, and I think we have the benefit of having talked, you and I have, having talked about Coach, over the years here, and I think everything I've said to you previously has always stood true, in that he made a deal with those that he recruited. Yeah, that one, he would be there for us, not just for 4 but for 40, for 40 years, right? Yeah, and everything he said and kind of all the mantras and things that we learned from him, gosh, for me, almost 35 years ago, 34, whatever it is, 33 years ago, is what he preached his entire career and post-career. I got an email today was forwarded to me from another person in the industry I work in, who had Coach Holtz speak to her a conference that she runs, and the things that he talked about, which she did with no notes when he spoke then, were the exact same things that he always talked to us about. I mean, literally, he's always been preaching from the same hymn book about accountability, about trust, love, and commitment. As things that you have to live by, about how you treat people.
Yeah.
And, these were all kind of the underlying things. The guy was a great football coach, right?
Sure.
But these were the kind of things that he instilled in anybody who was in his program or anyone who he really had the opportunity to be in touch with and touch their lives. And the other thing, and I think I've said this to you before too, maybe I have, I can't remember, is whenever I meet someone who played for Coach or interacted with him in a significant way, from other places, not just Notre Dame, but in business or at ESPN or whatever it may be, they all have the same basic stories. I mean, he said the same thing, and he's been the same guy everywhere he's been. And so we all kind of felt like we were kind of this fraternity of people who were touched by Coach Holtz. I'm so grateful for that. And, as sad as we already have him leave us, man, he left a really indelible mark on so many people and certainly on the game of football.
Randy, do you remember the first time you met Lou Holtz? And you were recruited by the world. I know Bo Schembechler wanted you. You broke George Perlis's heart. But George told me, he didn't feel like he lost you. He felt like Notre Dame is a really, really good school and a tough place for anyone to recruit against. But the first time that you had a chance to spend any time with Lou or he made a home visit, what was that like?
Yeah, so two things come to mind, actually. I first met him, during just going down there for a game and didn't get to spend any kind of, real significant time with him. I just got to meet him. But I remember on my official visit down there, which I probably told you about before, was the football banquet weekend. And so you got to see, the seniors and everyone get really celebrated, and it's a great event. And that really made me kind of fall for the school. But I remember after going through that weekend, I met with him. The last thing I did before leaving was to meet with him. And he said basically, again, like I've already said, he said kind of the same basic things that I've said. Like he said, Randy, you come here, and the commitment that I'll make to you is for 40 years, not for 40. And he says, I'll be honest with you. We're gonna teach. He basically said all the values that he believed in, but that were Notre Dame values as well. And he said, we'd love you to be a part of this thing. And I told him on the spot, I said, I think I want to be a part of this thing too. I didn't officially commit, but I knew definitely after that and after spending that weekend with the people around him, and the young men in that program who believed in him, right, that was what I wanted. Now, what was interesting is he didn't do an actual home visit until several weeks later, well, actually a month or so later, because I went on my other visits. That was my first visit, one of my other visits. And, I saw the rest of the world, and I had a lot of great choices, as you and I have talked about before.
Right.
And so that's when he said, you know what, maybe I should drive 2.5 hours. And he sat in my mother's, living room, and we got to chat again. And that was more a chat for him with Mom. But he said all the same things. I mean, he never wavered. There was never any kind of anything that felt even an inkling of shadiness or whatever we might call it.
Yeah.
He just reiterated, this is how we run this program. This is what Notre Dame is about.
Yeah.
Randy belongs here. He belongs here with us. And we were sold.
Was he funny? Was he serious? I imagine he didn't pull out and start doing a lot of magic tricks, right?
He didn't in those instances, but he always had was real. Anytime you interact with him, even when he would get in his worst mood, you could always sense that he could turn on a dime and give you a bit of humor or kind of needle you a bit with a funny jog or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
during recruiting, I didn't get to see all of him. I would see that very after. It was the funnier side, but it was serious.
Yeah.
It was serious. I mean, he and again, like there was no. I mean, he was very clear about what it is they did. There was no promising of any. It wasn't any lofty promises. It was, this is what you're coming here for.
Didn't promise you playing time. Obviously not cash, but
he didn't.
He had to earn it.
Yeah, he really didn't. I mean, it was interesting, right? He said I'd have all the opportunity, right, to play. But it wasn't, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. You're going to win the Doak Walker. You're going to do this. No, it was you come be a part of this thing, and you seem like you're a Notre Dame man kind of thing, and which I appreciated. I mean, my parents, both of them, had very active BS meters, if you want to call it that, right?
Yeah.
And and I I'm very, very lucky and blessed that the schools that I was looking at, they were all really decent people, decent coaches. And I'll correct you. Bo was gone. It was Gary. It was
Gary. That's right.
At Michigan.
That's right.
Who was also Gary was Coach Mueller was a stand-up guy.
That's right.
I mean, and that staff was all the same staff basically who had been there, under Bo, right?
Bo's last year was 89. So when you were a high school senior, obviously that would have been Mueller.
93. Yeah. And but as we've also talked about before, every single one of the head coaches on the 5 schools I visited, they were gone by the time I finished, including Coach Holtz, because that was his last year, was my senior year.
Wow.
So this is interesting.
Yeah. So what's the funniest thing you can remember him saying? I know you guys get together, you tell a million Holtz stories and you do Lou impressions, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You got one of those for us?
Yeah. I mean, gosh. I mean, I've told this before, right? But, he was on me in one practice as a freshman. I can't remember what it was that I was doing wrong, but I was doing it the wrongest ever kind of thing. It might have been my stance. It might have been, running a route, whatever it was. He said to me, Randy, your ass is the worst damn ass player in the history of the state of Michigan. Never recruiting again. He went in a whole thing about I had just ruined it for the whole state. Notre Dame was never coming back. And and I'm thinking it's the end of the world. And I think I may have told you Pete Krapovitz, who was out of Sterling Heights, Stevenson.
Sure.
Yeah. He said he had gone to Notre Dame the year before, his year ahead of me.
Yeah.
And he told me as we walked off the practice field, "Don't worry." He says, "Last year I was the dumbest and worst player in the history of the state too, so it's okay."
So you took Pete off the hook. Pete didn't have that distinction anymore, right?
There you go, right?
Yeah.
And I was told that Jerome had at one point gotten that kind of talking to as well. But no, he was very, and still, I mean, up until these last months even. He still kept that wit, man. He was just devastatingly funny, and cut hard on stuff. The last little reunion we did for our foundation, the Holtz Seals Foundation, this past season, we had the panel that we did was all kickers, and the kickers told these stories of things that Coach Holtz used to do to them, and say to them. And, it just everybody got it from him.
Yeah.
And my God, it was hilarious if you weren't the guy, you know what I mean? But he just always had that. And at the same time, when he was not pleased, you knew it.
Yeah. What's the maddest you remember him being, either at you or someone else or something else?
My God. I mean, that goes on. I mean, that list is very long. In game, him just becoming just irate with players or assistant coaches.
Yeah.
Assistant coaches for Coach Holtz did not have it easy.
Yeah.
I mean, he we may or may not have called him a dictator at times, but that's probably pretty apt. Old school, the coaches he learned under were not known for being, nice guys. So he could be extremely tough. And as you know, Coach Holtz is not anywhere near an imposing physical feature, guy. But
can be very intimidating once he got into it.
To the biggest of men.
Yeah.
I mean, just, and, another thing we talked about before, right? Coach in college studied psychology, right? So he had really, both to our, to our benefit and detriment, knew how to get you what he, knew how to get the reaction out of you, right?
Right.
And sometimes you got the proverbial stick, and other times the carrot. But he was tough. He was very, very tough. I can't tell you the amount of times that he told guys to get out of practice, and then they had to make the decision: am I really supposed to leave or not? Right?
Yeah.
I think I got it. With my freshman year, I think I was told get out, because I had messed something up, whatever it may be, and and you kind of stand in the background, and because you want him to know that you're still there, but you don't want to be too there.
Yeah.
He was a master at that. And often, if you weren't the type of player who responded well to that kind of encouragement or whatever you want to call it, players left. Yeah. I mean, we always, I remember, I think every freshman class would kind of lose one or two guys, by the end of that first camp. Either they would leave right then, or you knew they weren't long for the world kind of thing, because it's a different way of doing things. And if you bought in, if you could make that agreement with him, mentally and psychologically, again, you could run through walls. You really could, but you had to get over that. It's almost like what they call it in acting, the willing suspension of disbelief.
There you go.
It worked if you let it work. But he stuck by his word. We never were unprepared. There were many, many times when the hardest part of the week was practice, not the game.
Yeah.
It just he was a man of his word, and that means so much.
Randy, I did not know Lou Holtz well. I knew him. I had some conversations with him, but I did have several things that jump out at me that kind of frame it as if I'd almost been around him more than I had. And one of them was when he was at Ohio State in 1968 as an assistant coach to Woody on that great championship team with all those super sophomores. Freshmen weren't eligible. And Woody had an idea: for every sophomore you started, you would lose a game. And that team had a boatload of them, and they didn't lose any. So after that, he left, and he went to William and Mary. And this is one of my favorite stories because I got it from Bobby Bowden. Bobby Bowden was the coach at West Virginia at the time. So neither one of these guys were where you would ever assume that they would wind up. And so West Virginia playing William and Mary, it was kind of a mismatch, and West Virginia won. I want to say it was like 43-10, something like that. And after the game, Bobby Bowden is very jocular, and he doesn't take things quite as seriously. And Lou stayed there with the handshake and said, "I didn't like you running it up." And Bobby Bowden looked at him like, "Are you serious?" And then he said, "Your problem, Lou, is you need to recruit more Williams and fewer Marys."
I remember that story. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Then, and they became the best of friends.
Yes, they were very good friends. And then, he had the deal with the Jets, and he wasn't really in his element there. But he was at Minnesota. Minnesota was a one-win program in '84, and Lou Holtz comes in, and in 2 years, he's got him in a bowl game. He was only there 2 years. And then he got the call, and he had it written into his contract with Minnesota. You know the story. The one place he would go, he could go, and there was no penalty. Is if Notre Dame called, he wasn't going to chase jobs over the country, but the Notre Dame job was the Notre Dame job. So he comes in, and then, they get into the whole thing with Miami. And you get the Catholics convicts, you get the fight before the game, right? And the players come back into the locker room, and he says, "And you'd go out there and you do that again. You know, you're already out of the program." He said, "After the game, you can do whatever you want." And then he stopped, and he's going out, and he says, "But you got to leave Jimmy Johnson's ass for me."
Save Jimmy Johnson's ass for me.
There you go. There you go.
It's these are the stories, man, and there are a million more. I mean, you talk about turning a program around. Even when he went to South Carolina, he was able to get that program into a good place, and then helped recruit the next coach, who came actually, which was what Spurrier came after him, right? So, I mean, he was like a walking, what's a quote, right? I mean, he was just so many great stories. Had an opinion on just about everything. And I'll say this too. That whole 4 year, give me 4, I'll give you 40. Right, was, as I've said to you before, has been very true. I didn't get all my 40. I would tell him that though. Right now, I'd say, listen, you still owe me a few.
You'll get them later.
But we had such an interesting and sometimes complicated bond with him after football. I mean, he as I said, he was very opinionated, and sometimes those opinions would drive some of us a little batty.
I've heard his political opinions. Say he's not shy.
Which we don't need to go back into completely. But it provided, I should say, some complicated conversations and relationship issues between players and coach. But still with this complete underlying, I mean, frankly, love. I mean, there is I can't tell you the amount of wonderful messages, notes, emails that I've gotten from, one from teammates, but so many just from people who I know who associate me with him, right? And so I become the kind of vessel for, for people wanting to say something about Coach Holtz, right? And which is, it's so appreciative. I mean, my father passed out too long ago. And, when a parent dies, right, you get to kind of control, when people find out, right, for the most part. And so when you do, and then you get the nice, outpouring of love and, people just checking in on you kind of thing. In this case, Coach Holtz's family, let some of the players know, right, some of the close friends know, and 20 minutes later it was out, right, and it was everywhere. And, and so the whole world essentially who cared knew. And, so right away you just get, my phone was just buzzing off the hook kind of thing. And it's such a nice, wonderful thing to feel that. And I can't imagine what Skip and Coach Holtz's kids are going through as far as, having to kind of, answer all these wonderful calls, but I know they're grateful. They're extremely grateful for it.
I had two other things, Randy, and see if any of these ring true to you. He walked up the tunnel at Michigan State because the visitors' locker room facilities were substandard, especially in terms of the coaches' area, where they would have a private area to dress. And he took the director of athletic facilities here and chewed him a new one, as it had never been done before. And this guy's about a foot taller than Lou Holtz. Right? And then the last time that I really had any interaction with him whatsoever was at a Big Ten Media Days, and he was doing a little bit of media stuff, and he was doing some guest stuff, I think, for Big Ten Network. And the coaches had been talking, and he's going to go on in a little bit, and I walked behind him, and he has a Street and Smith's football magazine. I wrote for this dumb thing for like 25 years, right? And so I know the knowledge that goes into it, and we're not experts on everything we write, trust me. So he is taking notes, handwritten notes, out of the magazine. So I said, I got to hear this, right? So I'm standing behind the camera. He goes on, and you would have thought he wrote the damn magazine. Lou Holtz.
Great.
One of a kind.
Great.
Yeah. If they call him Leahy's Lads, what do they call you guys?
We were Lou's Lads, and we changed the name of our and then our foundation was called Lou's Lads Foundation. Now it's called Holtz's Heroes Foundation. But yeah, that's what we kind of took on. Yeah.
Well, I hope when you guys have your next reunion, the Holt stories are flowing fast and furious, and someday you'll get the rest of those 40.
Thank you. We were going to get together for the funeral and the viewing in South Bend in about I think it's about 10 days from now.
Okay.
And then we actually have our Holt Zeros Foundation board meeting around the spring game. So we're going to have a couple opportunities to get guys together before the season.
Great.
And already, the stories are already coming, so I'm really looking forward to it. And it'll be good to have everyone together to put him to rest.
Randy Kinder. Randy, are you still in D.C.?
I still live in D.C. I'm actually down at a conference in Florida right now.
Okay.
But yeah, still living in D.C. And when I get home, supposedly the weather will be in the 70s tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to getting home. It's gorgeous down here, but I'm looking forward to taking with me.
There is a chance that 2 weeks from this weekend, with the NCAA regional in Washington, D.C., Michigan State might be in the East bracket. And if that happens, I'll give you a holler. Maybe we can grab a beverage or a burger or something.
Please do, and I'll take a ticket as well. Thanks so much for offering that ticket, Jack. I appreciate you. And by the way, I hope we get a chance to talk before the fall. But there is a date for us in South Bend.
Yes,
in September.
There is.
Everyone's talking about. So I'm excited for that.
Yes, exactly. We're talking about 60 years since the game of the century.
60 years.
How about that?
That's right.
Randy Kinder, East Lansing High School megastar and Notre Dame standout. We'll be right back. And in studio, the fabulous Flying Nesses, Jackie and Brian. And they're going to talk a little bit about Michigan State basketball and much, much more. Their super fandom. We'll be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Hey Jack, I'm looking for a lunch deal that actually scores.
One North Kitchen and Bar has a 2 for $12 lunch combo, right Jeremy?
Absolutely. We can mix and match half sandwiches, salads, soups, or classics like cheese quesadillas and personal pizzas. Weekdays 11 to 2 and Saturdays from 10 to 2.
One North.
Easy win.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graf of Okemos. Great time to get a great vehicle.
Fantastic time, Jack. 0% financing is back. Hard to believe this time right now we can get a vehicle with 0 interest.
Wow.
And if you're looking to pay cash, how about rebates up to $10,000? That's unheard of lately, right? $10,000 off on a vehicle. How about leasing? You want to lease? You can lease a vehicle right now in the low 3s. Come on out and take a look.
You're talking everyone's language. Stop and see Matt and the gang. They're making friends.
I'm leaving on a jet plane. I don't know when I'll be back again.
Welcome back. Great job, Rob. Peter, Paul, and Jackie leaving on a jet plane. Want to welcome in to the studio my good friends Jackie and Brian Ness from Boise, Idaho. When did you get in, Jackie?
We've been here about a week.
Okay. You had some business to take care of on campus, right?
Yes, and with an accountant here in town that we still see, so yes.
Okay. The Ness athletic structure that's being built on campus, you had to make sure the plans were moving ahead with that, right?
I think there's a bathroom somewhere that may have our name on it.
A stall
that's
in the
more
bathroom.
Like it, yes.
Yeah. Jackie, how important is it for you to be here tonight for senior night?
I wouldn't miss it. I mean, I really enjoy watching Cooper play and Jax play. I mean, they're two very special people.
And Kurt Tang.
Well, Tang's not a senior, but
no, but your guy.
Tang, I love. I just love watching him
What were
play.
you saying and what were you doing Sunday when he hit those 6 3-pointers?
Going wild.
Was she going wild, Brian?
She was going wild.
How do you control her when she gets? No, can't happen.
No,
you just get out of the way.
What she said.
Brian, how about for you? What would it have taken for you to miss senior night?
Wow,
hospitalization.
At least, yes.
At least
that
a coma.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
That we initially weren't going to make this trip, but we found a way to make it happen.
How many Michigan State basketball games have you seen this year, Brian?
Ooh, almost all of them.
Yeah.
There's a few in December there that
almost all the home
after
games.
Duke, that we didn't hit. But other than that, we saw most of the home games.
Yeah. You did not go out to Washington or Oregon, right?
No, it's too close.
Not enough frequent flyer miles on that one, Rob. It didn't matter. But you have one of the most interesting strategies for postseason, right? In the Big Ten tournament, you let that go. But as far as the NCAA tournament, you have pre-planned. You know all the sites. You have reservations made, and then don't forget to cancel when you see the bracket on Sunday, a week from Sunday, right?
Yes, and sometimes you have till midnight Sunday to cancel.
Yeah.
So as they're reading the brackets, I'm on my computer hitting cancels on the cities that Michigan State does not go to.
Yeah. So you think Michigan State will be where? Where do you see them now? Could be a 2 seed if they take care of business. I think they have to win tonight. There's not 96% chance of them doing. Yeah.
If they don't win tonight,
then it's
it's over.
They do not have to win Sunday in Ann Arbor to maintain their position, but they wouldn't want to lose the first game of the Big Ten tournament.
I would agree with all that.
I think that if they lose on the Friday, they wouldn't play before Friday unless they lose tonight. But then as a 2 seed or a 3 seed, they would want to win the first game, just to be sure.
Mm-hmm.
And if that happens, would you rather that they be in Washington, D.C. against Duke? You would.
Absolutely. We can beat them in a rematch.
Yeah, that's kind of what certain coach was saying late one night. What about San Jose? Is closer to you. Could get Arizona there. That would be fun. Good weather. Bring your golf clubs.
I want D.C.
D.C.
I want the rematch with Duke, and I want to replay, I think it was the 2019 regional final.
Oh, yeah, right. Michigan State has beaten Duke in 2 regional finals. In 2005, when it became the only team to beat Kentucky and Duke within 48 hours, and did that, and then advanced to the Final Four, and Michigan State and Illinois lost to North Carolina. North Carolina called themselves the Big Ten champions.
In fact, we were at that game in 2019, and we made sure we booked the same hotel as what we had then, just to make sure we didn't screw anything up.
The wallpaper on my phone, one of that's on there now, it rotates, is a picture after the game from Washington, D.C. I don't know. Some people would remember. They remember him. They don't remember the balding guy on the left there. But in terms of that day and that win over Mike Krzyzewski, and then Izzo the next year, do you remember what he did with the Champions Classic? They were going to cancel it, right, because of COVID.
Yeah.
And this was in the fall of 2020, so it was actually a year and a half later. But Krzyzewski said, we're not playing. We are not playing. We're not coming to Indianapolis. We are not playing. And Izzo said, we'll come to you. We'll come to Durham. We'll play in Cameron, which is not the point of the Champions Classic. So Kentucky and Kansas played their game in where it was supposed to be. And Michigan State went to Durham and won. So they beat Duke back-to-back. But that game in 2019, that might have been, other than the Leitner, Hurley, Grant Hill teams, that might have been K's best team. Zion Williamson and R.J. Barrett, and they had pros at 3 of the first 9 guys in the draft. And Krzyzewski couldn't believe that Michigan State had won. And, you get an unlikely hero like Kenny Goins, who had a really poor game up to that point, but made the shot he had to make from top of the key. And then Duke missed a free throw, and Michigan State got the rebound, and then got the ball in bounds. So that was
the key play.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So what do you remember about that time in Washington, D.C.? What stands out to you? What's the number one memory?
The inbounds pass at the end.
The pass at the end?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And, when I think Kenny was going to throw that in, and Tillman didn't like that idea. And so he it's mine. I got it. Give me the ball. And took the ball. The play was not, and Izzo had drawn up a play. And he sent something, what the hell is going on here? Right? And X goes over and takes the ball, and then he looks at Cash, and he gave him a head sign. And Winston knew exactly what it was, and Duke had no clue. And that was the end of the game.
We out-seniored him that night.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, out-seniored him with guys who came back, and probably, I don't know if you'd say it was the second best chance to win, because in 2010, you had the injury to Kalen Lucas, but that was a very winnable Final Four with Butler, and then a very beatable Duke team that won it. But that team in 2020, after the win over Duke the following year, that team was awesome at the end. And I think they would have had a great chance to win if they had played the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
But did not. All right. I'm going to give you some players who are going to be honored tonight. I'm not going to go through student managers. I'm not going to ask you to comment on them or the office assistants. But I'm going to go back and forth here, and I want one memory about their career, what they meant to you or what they meant to Michigan State. Okay, let's start with you, Jackie, and Jackson Kohler.
Kohler. We're going to go back to the Idaho Spartans.
Okay.
When he first started.
Yeah.
Waterboy. That's what we called him.
Waterboy.
Because he looked like Waterboy in the movies.
Ah.
So that's his nickname.
Waterboy.
Waterboy. That's not because of his last name, but just because he looked like Waterboy.
Like Adam Sandler in the movie.
In the movies. So the Idaho Spartans have called him Waterboy.
Bobby Boucher.
For years. And so that's our memory of Kohler.
Wow.
Waterboy.
He developed pretty well for a water boy, Brian.
He sure did.
Huh?
Yes.
And really, really good against Indiana Sunday.
Yes.
After, he'd had such a good start to his senior year and then fell off a little bit. Mm-hmm. Jeff Kohler, Jax's dad, is in town. And he came on the show Monday. We're going to get together while he's here. But, he said it's hard to believe it's over.
It's gone by fast.
What about Trey Fort, Brian? He is not as old as you, but it's close. And a guy who 6 schools, I never thought I would see Tom Izzo with a guy who played for 6 schools or been to 6 schools. What what do you make of Trey? And it wasn't supposed to be the way it is.
My greatest memory of the 1 year that Trey was here was not on the basketball court, but at Christmas time when he delivered gifts. In the Lansing area. And I thought that was really cool for someone who really wasn't from the community of Lansing, and to be able to do that. I thought that's pretty neat.
Yeah. Jackie, he's had a chance to be part of a winning program, of a big-time program. And even though he didn't get the personal satisfaction, gratification he was hoping for, I think this is going to stick with him the rest of his life. And depending on how things work out, might help him professionally. There are things you can do, having been part of a winning Michigan State basketball team that you don't get at Podunk Junior College.
But he's been accepted.
I think so. I think so.
He's part of the family.
Yeah.
And that will stick with him for the rest of his life. He's part of the family.
And he hasn't moped. He hasn't sulked. He hasn't questioned the coaches. And I know a lot of guys who come in, and if you think you're going to be the leading scorer, and sometimes you don't get off the bench, that's really hard from an ego standpoint. Yep. All right. Jackie, Cooper. What do you think?
Our recollection of Cooper is golf. Every time we run into him, we talk about golf. We don't talk basketball, we talk golf. And we run into him, in the parking lot. We've run into him in several locations.
Yeah.
We talk golf. And so that's what we think about when
Did you give him a lesson?
I think he'd give us one. He's pretty
He's pretty good golfer.
He's very good. Very personable. He's going to go far as a human.
Yeah.
He's really, really good.
I don't think his basketball is done.
No, not at all.
I think he's going to play for several years. No, I'm not saying he's going to be an NBA draft pick. He's not. But I think he's going to play professional basketball. And a lot of guys do that for a long time. See the world, make some good money, get some incredible memories. Yep. Sometimes they find a wife. Lots of things happen with that. But, Brian, a lot of people don't know this about Carson Cooper. They know that he was on the B team at IMG, right? So to come and do what he has done, and now he's got Tom Izzo saying, why didn't I redshirt him? But he's a really smart guy, right? And I've asked people, who do you think have the best grade points on this team? Or who are the best students? They don't always pick Carson Cooper. Maybe it's, just the way he carries himself. But he is an outstanding student. He and Nick Sanders are the best students on the program. So,
and it's not some podunk program either. It's business or something like that, I believe, or finance.
Yeah, finance, I think. Yeah. All right. Brian, what about Denim Wojcik? We talk about people with brain power, came with the degree from Harvard. Now he's going to be leaving with his master's and the life dream. I mean, as a rugrat, he's exposed to Michigan State basketball, never thinking he's going to get to do this or see meaningful minutes. He's going to play for Michigan State in an NCAA tournament.
And I would say that's my biggest memory is the fact that he was a scout team player. Might have been kind of like the Stephen Izzo this year.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he has to play meaningful minutes because fears he can't play 40 minutes.
I know.
So he's got to come in and probably play, 5 to 8 minutes a game at least.
Yeah. Jackie, there was a time at the beginning of this season when Denham got on the court, and fair or unfair, a lot of fans went, oh, God. And they're like looking at the clock and, can we get another 45 seconds? But now he made a pass against Indiana where he penetrated and then threw the ball back out to Kurt Tang for that three. That was an important play in the game.
It was. So. And I say bless his heart because he has worked hard. He didn't want to be out there. I mean, in the limelight, it's very hard on him to do what he's doing. He doesn't want to be, out there, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
He really is doing a good job.
Last one, Jackie, Nick Sanders.
Nick Sanders.
Yeah.
He's our yoo-hoo
Remember
guy.
when he was on the end of the bench with Stephen Izzo?
He was.
Right? They come in together.
And we'd all cheer.
Yeah.
And we will tonight, for sure.
I have one hope tonight, and it's that Nick Sanders hits a three and Barry can enjoy it.
Yes.
And I think he will.
But it won't be Steven Izzo with the assist this time.
No, it won't be that. And we'll never get one like when Steven Izzo finally scored.
Oh, yes. My.
Right? I mean, that
was wild.
Place is still reverberating from that one. But there's a real appreciation for Barry. And by Tom Izzo, Tom said the other day that he really hopes, Nick Sanders can be successful at a lot of things. Yes. He's extremely gifted musician, but he can be successful in the business world if he wants to. Tom thinks he'd be a hell of a coach, and he wants him to come back and be a GA, and if he wants to get into coaching, Tom will be there for him every step of the way.
He's seen it all. He can read the court. He can, help with the players, and he's just I agree. A lot of times when they sit on the end of the bench, they can watch the floor. Yeah. He's good.
Brian, the one thing about Nick that I've always appreciated was he didn't fall very far from the tree, because you know how Barry is, so modest, so incredibly humble. And you see Barry at the game, and people, if they don't know, they don't even recognize him, because he just dresses like, Joe Blow from DeWitt, and he comes in, never big times anybody, right? And he's happier not being recognized than being a star, right? It was like that his whole career. He'd go in the end zone and hand the ball to the ref, act like you've been there before, right? And that's the way that Nick is. But teammates love Nick Sanders because, he's running the scout team a lot. And for you to pick up and know everything that's happening when you're playing 2 or 3 games a week and, they go in the NCAA tournament, and that's hard because you haven't seen these teams before. But some guys can do that, and other times you might get a better athlete, but they don't give you the look you're going to get in the game. So what good is it, right? So, all right. Very quickly, Jackie, your favorite player on this year's team is?
Tang.
Got to go back to Kurt Tang. Brian, yours?
Oh, it's senior night. I have to take a senior.
Yeah?
I'll take Coop just because he wants to hang out at treetops and play golf.
Okay. Okay, good. Is he invited? Is a guest of yours up there to do that?
Absolutely, anytime.
Anytime. I'll tell him. I'll remind him. We might do a show up there, and we should bring him along.
Yes, absolutely.
Please
right?
do.
Let him
Please
co-host the show.
Oh, yes.
We could do that. Okay. All right. When you think about this team picked for 6th in the Big Ten, looks like they could be a 2 seed, probably a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. Last year they were 30-7. If Michigan State wins tonight and then wins the Big Ten tournament, that's 29 wins, 1 less. If they get to the Sweet 16, they would have a better season record-wise than they had last year. They wouldn't have the Big Ten regular season championship, and that means more than winning the tournament championship. But 30-7 and 31-7, that's pretty good stuff. That's 61 wins, or 60 wins, let's say, over a 2-season span for a coach who supposedly had lost it. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, when's that guy going to retire? He was good while he lasted, but how's that holding up?
Well, they always complain the first week in February, and look what happens in March.
And you remember your prediction before the season? You went through it game by game. You remember?
I think we were going to lose 2 in the non-conference, and we lost 1. And I said 16-4.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah, they got to beat Michigan.
Got to beat Michigan. Yep. And then where did you have them going in the NCAA tournament?
I had them. I had them 1-1 in the Big Ten, and then 4-1. I had them going to the Final Four and losing in the semis.
Okay. So you had 16-9. That's 25 at the end of the regular season. And if they split these next 2 games, they will be 25-6. Be right on pace.
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. Thanks for coming in. I really appreciate you stopping at the studio.
Welcome.
It's always a better place when you're here.
Thank you.
And we'll see you tonight.
Sounds good, Jack.
All right. I may send Jay Green over to just talk to you for a while, or you'll run into him somewhere, I'm sure.
You can't miss Jay.
He always comes and gives me a hug.
Absolutely. All right. We will be right back, and we're going to talk with Scott Docterman from The Athletic, and he just did a great piece, Rob, about the best rivalries in college basketball, and he ranked them We're going to talk to him about that and about the Iowa Hawkeyes hosting Michigan tonight. Do they have a chance? Yeah, I guess maybe the Michigan bus might not show up at the arena. And we're going to talk with Deshaun Tate, our Lansing-bred Atlanta-based basketball savant. In just a few minutes, we'll be right back on The Drive with Jack.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Some great product here in early 2026.
You got it, Jack. Here at Chevy, we have, backed by popular demand, the all-new Bolt, redesigned and back in full force for us. People are really excited about that vehicle. It did great for us in the past.
Great.
And then next door, the Nissan Sentra, completely redesigned for that model. Great fuel economy. It's going to be a hot seller for us.
Stop and see Matt and the gang at Graph of Okemos. They're making friends.
Dean Transportation is looking for compassionate people to join our team of school bus drivers and attendants. Visit deanjobs.com to see all openings. Dean Transportation provides paid training to obtain a commercial driver's license, increased starting pay, comprehensive benefits, and flexible schedules with no weekend shifts. No experience needed. Apply today at deanjobs.com and train for back to school season. That's DEAN jobs.com.
Hey, Jack, you love a good gift card.
Yes, Jeremy, I do.
One North makes it even better. Reload your One North gift card now through January for 15% off and keep those good meals coming. Lunch, dinner, happy hour, covered. Reload it, use it, repeat. One North Kitchen and Bar.
Where gift cards keep giving.
So, it's been a while since you've had your jewelry cleaned and inspected, right? Where will you go and who will you trust with your most valuable and treasured heirlooms? At Meadowar Jewelers' 4 locations in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage, jewelry isn't just our job, it's our passion. Each and every piece entrusted in our care is thoroughly inspected by our trained staff against damage or normal wear. And we offer you, our customer, the highest level of quality on repairs and custom designs. Whether it's worn out prongs, channels, or shanks, it's all handled with incredible care. Meadowar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, and Portage want to help you preserve your memories and offer you options on creating new ones. Come in today for the cleaning and inspection of your jewelry. We continue to work hard every day to earn your confidence and trust.
Jack Ebling here with my good friend Matt Sloan at Graph of Okemos. Great time to get a great vehicle.
Fantastic time, Jack. 0% financing is back. Hard to believe this time right now we can get a vehicle with 0 interest.
Wow.
And if you're looking to pay cash, how about rebates up to $10,000? That's unheard of lately, right? $10,000 off on a vehicle. How about leasing? You want to lease? You can lease a vehicle right now in the low 3s. Come on out and take a look.
You're talking everyone's language. Stop and see Matt and the gang. They're making friends.
You got to fight for Iowa. Somebody better fight for them tonight because they're going to need all the help they can get against the Michigan Wolverines at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Want to welcome in Scott Docterman from The Athletic, one of the best sports writers in the Midwest, certainly, and going back a long ways when he wasn't working for The Athletic, but he was someone who I read on a regular basis. Gave me a lot of good story ideas. Scott, you had a good one and executed it extremely well in terms of college basketball rivalries. What made you do that, and how hard was it?
Well, thanks for having me on, Jack. And I tell you what, I did the 100 greatest football rivalries last summer, and I went through the list, and in some ways that was easier, in some ways it was more difficult because I think there's more emotion attached to football rivalries than basketball rivalries. But I also think that what makes it challenging, specifically in Big Ten country, is the kind of the nebulous nature of Big Ten basketball rivalries.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 2 or 3 that really stand out as far as like their automatics. We know it well. You know it well. Michigan, Michigan State, Indiana, Purdue, and Iowa, Illinois, I think, is in that ballpark because it can go from 0 to 1,000 pretty quickly. But after that, there are just there are probably 25 to 30, games and series you could call rivalries, but will anybody place that marker on it?
Yeah.
And it's kind of, it's cyclical and it's kind of coach dependent. I mean, one that stands out for me that I kind of had a challenging time with was Michigan State, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Because historically, not so much. But then you throw Bo Ryan versus Tom Izzo, and there may have been no more impactful series from the early 2000s through the mid part of the last decade.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a lot of fun to go through and go through the list, but then also trying to sort through them, I thought was a challenge as well.
Yeah, the Michigan State Wisconsin basketball series you mentioned, Scott, before Bo Ryan got there, Dick Bennett was the coach, and they met 4 times in the 99-2000 season, including a Final Four semifinal that a lot of people said set basketball back a couple of decades.
It did,
53 to 41 game. But then when Bo came in and Michigan State could not beat Wisconsin for several years, and it kind of balanced out. But Tom has a lot of respect for Greg Gard and a lot of respect for the program, but he didn't like him so much earlier this year when Wisconsin absolutely hammered Michigan State at the Kohl Center. But I think you're right, and there are a lot of those kinds of series. You mentioned 3, and I want to start with Iowa and Illinois. How much of this has to do with location? How much of it has to do with the fact that Iowa went in and stole Chuck Long from Wheaton, Illinois? How much of it has to do with maybe Bruce Pearl and Deion Thomas and all that? What do you base this rivalry on?
I think this one is maybe as starchy as any of them, and it just kind of goes with the flow. And I would say that they were always, kind of antagonists with one another because they're fighting over a lot of the same space and recruiting corners back when Lute Olson was the coach, and even before that with Ralph Miller, that Iowa would go into Illinois, and a lot of times it was central Illinois. It was, of course, the Chicagoland, even western Illinois, that Illinois held dear to itself, like, hey, you're invading our state. And so recruiting always adds to something. But then I think you throw on the most explosive situation in basketball in the Big Ten, which was Bruce Pearl when he was then assistant at Iowa, and taping Deion Thomas, who was kind of his way through an interview, and back then it wasn't easy to tape. You had to literally have a tape recorder, and he recorded him some either agreeing or his way through. I agreed to $75,000 in a new blazer from Jimmy Collins. And then
he didn't mean the blazer he would wear either, right? He was talking about the one he would drive. Yeah.
No, and that's why Iowa fans would jingle their keys and chant Blazer, Blazer every time he'd shoot a free throw. Yeah. And and so you throw that on there, and the Orange Crush had some real heavy moments with the Hawkeyes and vice versa. But that only goes so far. I mean, they had some great games against one another, and it was one of the one series. I mean, all of them, home and away were fantastic, but for the longest period of time, it was rare when one would win at the other. Yeah. It was just like you could almost say the beginning of the season, all right, Illinois is going to beat Iowa in Champaign, Iowa is going to beat Illinois in Iowa City, and it's kind of just different audiences, and I think that's what made it great. And obviously you covered it for a long time. The old, I can kind of separate the old guard from the newer one. Yeah. Because the old Big Ten, the 10 teams, when they played round robin, home and away, every one of them, and made it feel like that there were 6 or 7 rivals on your count, and then if one team was good, I mean, everybody hated Bob Knight or Jim Cady and Lou Henson. Judd Heathcote made everybody laugh.
Yeah.
Everybody said, clapper Tom Davis, and Lute Olson would blame the refs, and and so you just had so much that I think that was, and it made it special, and it's unique. I think it's unique even among conferences, because when I did this project nationally, I looked at the other ones. The ACC has some great rivalries, but not that many at the top. There are about 5 or 6 that are really good, and the rest are just kind of teams. And, the SEC, there's nowhere near the importance placed on basketball as football or what the Big Ten does. So I think that's what makes it special and fun, and it's kind of sad in some ways. Old timers like us that look at what it once was, and now you only play a couple of teams twice.
Yeah,
and,
changes it.
Yeah. And realignment was the most difficult part of ranking it, because there's so many great series that now are sick. They only play every now and then, or not at all in the case of teams that change conferences.
Yeah. Well, they used to have great ones like Notre Dame, UCLA, right? And then Kentucky, Louisville, they didn't play forever.
Yeah,
so what that should have been, obviously you have Duke, North Carolina. We know what that's all about. And then you have the ones after it. You have 2, 3, and 4 on your list. You want to start with number 4?
Indiana, Purdue.
Yeah.
What a that is the classic Big Ten rivalry for a lot of reasons, because you're talking about the most rabid basketball state, and certainly in the Midwest, and probably right there with Kentucky is nationally, and two equal institutions. One's the flagship, the other is kind of the other school, but still an important one. And and they both, they have the 2 most championships among Big Ten schools, and up until this year, both teams were just kind of middling football programs at best. And now it's a little bit different, but anytime you go to Mackey or Assembly Hall, you know what you're in for, whether the teams are good or not. And when they play each other, it is a great rivalry. No matter, and Purdue has been the much better program over the last, probably 20 years since Matt Painter took over, certainly. But it's fabulous. It's one that, if you could experience it live, definitely do that, because it's as good as it gets.
All right, number 3. A lot of people around here know a little bit about this one.
Yeah, this one's the one that I think had people shaking their heads a little bit, and that's Michigan State ahead of Indiana, Purdue, and we were talking a little bit, and your old Michigan State colleague on the beat there, Joe Rexrode. I batted around a lot of these. We just kind of, because I just wanted to get his feedback on some of them, and this was, I go, am I crazy to put Michigan State ahead of Indiana Purdue? No. And he's like, no, and right now, it is the snarliest rivalry in the Big Ten, the one where there's the most heat, and the 2 best teams probably in the conference right now. Maybe Illinois is in there too, but and it doesn't seem to be the really gentlemanly type of rivalry, maybe the way John Beilein and Tom Izzo were. I think there's some friction there, and, and that always adds to the flavor. So, and you want to say the last 30 years for sure, really since the end of the Bob Knight era. I think that this is the most impactful of the rivalries in the Big Ten. They're playing for championships. Last year, they split basically. Michigan won the tournament, and State won the regular season crown. And it very well could flip this year. So I think that's it's a top 3, and one of the parts of the ranking system I did was greatest game, and I'm like, we might reserve judgment because they may be still coming up this year. So they could be playing in Chicago on Sunday, the final Sunday, and they could be playing in April against one another, which would be really something to see.
Tom Izzo is 36-17 against Michigan, and he treats these games, I don't want to say like Final Four games, but damn close. And, they really matter to him. I remember the first time he beat Michigan, and the Michigan teams, of course, had to vacate that, and they had so many other problems with the scandal, the largest monetary scandal in basketball and NCAA history. But when he finally beat Michigan, it was like celebration time. And then he couldn't not beat Michigan for a long time. And then when Beeline got there, that changed a little bit. And then they got to the point where they were all, every game was title ramifications. But John's last year at Michigan in 2019, they met 3 times. And, you're talking about top 10 teams. And Michigan was favored in all 3 games, and Michigan State won all 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. That was the top year to me of that rivalry, the kind of the crescendo there, and until this year possibly.
Yeah.
It is one rivalry to me that I want to wait until it's over this year before I come to any kind of sweeping judgments, because 3 top 10 matchups in the same year, and the last 2 were winner take all for the regular season title, and then the tournament title the next week, and so you have that. I think that really matters, and of course, again, the kind of the breezeway and after the last game, and I'll get so who knows what'll happen on Sunday, but I think it still could be they could be playing in Chicago, they could be playing later, and then there's always next year. I'm excited for the future of this.
And this is one, Scott, where it isn't just a basketball rivalry. Michigan State could play tiddlywinks, and you'd have a sellout crowd. And, you're going to get 110,000 or 76,000 when they play football and the inflated ticket prices. So it's one where even as intense and meaningful as the basketball rivalry is, the football game means even more. I don't know if you could say that between Indiana and Purdue, or even North Carolina and Duke.
Right. Oh, you're for sure. And I think in some ways it's kind of become maybe the most unhealthy football rivalry, and certainly in the Big Ten. And it's just, with the refs and everything like that. I mean, the intensity for Michigan, Ohio State is at a fever pitch, and this one is really similar because, I don't like to use the sibling analogy, but there is, that kind of element there versus kind of the Ohio State, Michigan's kind of like the baddest guys on their block, different blocks. Where in this case, it's like, hey, same house, we're fighting over the same things, and so I think when you spread it all out and you look in the Big Ten, that there may not be a bigger rivalry across the board than Michigan State, because even Michigan, Ohio State, which I had 20th in basketball, it's a big one in basketball, but I think it's just kind of residue from football that kind of spills over. They've had great games, and they don't like each other. And when you go to the Shots and Seed Center or Value City Arena, and then they need the crowd to get lifted up, and they'll put the big block M up there. Of course, one time I saw them put the Alabama logo when they were getting ready to play Alabama in the playoff. But but I think comparatively, though, the fever pitch in Michigan for all the sports. You throw women's basketball, hockey, and
they're 1 and 2 ranked in hockey now. So these teams that can't get away from each other, and 63 miles apart. And there are a lot of spouses from the other school. You get kids. I know twins who've gone to different schools in it. Rexroad and I did a book on this, Scott, after the 2015 game, the Perfect 10 game, where he has trouble with the snap. And, going back through it, Michigan didn't want Michigan State to come into existence, and then tried to take it over and make it an extension. And, there were so many things. You go back through Rose Bowl votes and when Michigan State wanted to change its name to Michigan State University or to get a law school or a med school. And all of these things, they have been a thorn in each other's side so often. And when you're going back as far as that does, over generations, people say, hey, you're either green or you're blue. There's nobody in the middle. And maybe in some states there you could be. I don't know.
Yeah, like here where I live in Iowa, I would say It gets really strong between Iowa and Iowa State. And I would say the hate is much stronger on the Iowa State angle for Iowa than vice versa. But it's also very geographical. I mean, Iowa is in the eastern part of the state, and it really, we're only 3 hours from Chicago and Iowa City. Yeah. So it's not that far, and it's kind of still pointed toward there. They kind of look at Iowa, whereas in central Iowa, Des Moines, and and Des Moines is really split. It's like 50-50. So people talk Cyhawk all year long for whatever sport. Yeah. Whereas where I live, it's kind of like, it's big for when they play and the week leading into it. But then after that, it everybody kind of moves on to the Big Ten and other Iowa's other 15 other rivalries or whatever. But I think but it's not like Michigan. I think if they were in the same conference and fighting over the same piece of real estate like Michigan and Michigan State are, which is consistently near the top of the standings in most sports, and they have, whether it's football back, trouble with the snap to basketball last year, this year, who knows in March and April. I think that just adds to that fever pitch, and then you have a major metro area like Detroit that's split that way too. I think you can make that case that it is the biggest in-state rivalry across the board in the country. Auburn, Alabama doesn't have it in the other sports. Last year it did, in basketball, but not like this.
So if Purdue, Indiana is 4 and the Michigan schools, Spartans, Wolverines is 3, we know Duke, North Carolina has to be 1. Who did you have in the number 2 spot?
I had Louisville and Kentucky. And that was really, and you can split them up, and anybody can, argue one way or the other. But I think,
not in the same league, right?
Yeah, no, Louisville and Kentucky, and they're ACC and SEC. So, and I think part of it is that they do have some history there too, where Kentucky refused to Louisville and then kept getting stuck playing them in the tournament, and finally decided to tip off against one another. And then they've met in the NCAA tournament 7 times, including the Final Four. They've had Rick Pitino, who led Kentucky to a title and then came back and ended up leading Louisville to a title. So there's a lot of crossover there, I think, and it is an in-state rivalry. As much as Michigan, people care, it's still a football state first. Kentucky's not. And I think just having that kind of fuel every single year where the whole state revolves around that one particular game, I think kind of elevated it to number 2 for me.
Was that fun to do, or was that a pain in the ass?
Both. I mean, when you start to, it's easy to write out the rivalries on paper and play kind of fantasy football with them and decide, okay, this one's here, this one's there. And I kind of do that going into it. But what I wanted to do with this one, and I certainly did with football, is I wanted to really dig into each and every one of them to make sure that I'm not seeing something incorrectly. And, and then there were some that fell down, and there were some that rose up in this one and in football that were really, that were unexpected. And I'll say this, like Duke, Maryland is one of the 15 best rivalries in the country. Yeah. But once Maryland left the ACC, they have not played since 2014. Wow. It's not, and so you're thinking, man, that's 12 years ago. The kids playing, the freshmen that are playing right now are like 6 years old. There's no recollection of that series mattering for really a lot of people. And so it kind of fell, and it's going to continue to fall. As you mentioned earlier with UCLA, Notre Dame, originally I had it in. Yeah. And I was asking around, and pretty much I'm like the last line of defense on somebody who might think that it's still a rivalry, because it was the great cross-country rivalries we know, back in the 70s and 80s, and some of the most important games. But
we used to have Georgetown, Syracuse. That was about as big as you got when you had Big Monday, right?
Yeah, and I put it 5. Yeah. Because I still think that one is. It just has too much history, and they have played 10 straight years as non-conference teams. They did not play this year, but 10 previous years before that. Kansas, Missouri, I had 6.
Okay. How about Kansas State?
That was kind of down the list.
Down the ways. Okay.
Yeah, it's in the 30s. It's 32, but Kansas, Missouri is. I've never been around a rivalry where the people literally hate each other more when it comes to sports.
Why is that?
I mean, well, it dates all the way to the pre-Civil War.
Oh yeah,
I mean, and I'm not even being facetious on that because of bleeding Kansas and everything. And then you have the descendants of everybody who just grew up hating each other. And I mean, not just in a, hey, we hate you because you're wearing green or maize and blue or whatever. I mean, it's like literally like if you're on fire during this game, you're going to burn because I'm not putting any flames out. And that's the way they are during basketball and football. So even though they're not in the same conference, which kind of takes it down a notch, it still is on fire as anything. But the Big Ten is filled with other ones that I got in there. Indiana, Illinois was a 24 to me.
Okay.
And that one, I think really the episode. We can remember Lou Henson. Bob Knight.
Yeah. That was great.
Yeah. Michigan State, Ohio State.
Yeah.
At 26.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I look at Thad Matta and you kind of that trio of Thad Matta, Bo Ryan, and Tom Izzo for a good 10 decade plus.
Yeah.
They were the three best programs in the Big Ten, consistently playing for championships and tournament bids and getting to the Final Fours. And so, and then you look at the prestige of what Ohio State is, and in basketball, it's kind of like everybody else, but it still carries Ohio State. So, I mean, anytime they were playing, especially like maybe around like 2012 and 13, it seemed like every game mattered. Every game was a top 10 matchup. Every game determined the Big Ten championship. So, some great players, Final Four teams. So that one was. To me, it was 26, but somebody can make a case that it's higher. At Illinois, Purdue was also in there. They're not very far from one another. They're kind of the same type of school, so when they play, it's a good game. And then today I came out with my what I call pseudo rivalries or practical rivalries, which are, as we were talking. I mean, Iowa beats Ohio State a week ago, and now they lead the all-time series 87-86. Is that a rivalry, or is that just a
competitive rivalry? Maybe not a bitter rivalry. I think a rivalry is as people who would like cut each other off in traffic. I think that there's more to it than just fighting over the scoreboard. And very quickly, I got to get your take on Iowa's chances tonight. And what we are going to see with Ben McCollum basketball moving forward. He's got to get some bigs. And with the style of play, it's such a departure from Fran McCaffrey. A lot of things are a departure from Fran McCaffrey. But in terms of tonight, what does Iowa have to do besides flatten the tires of the Michigan bus?
Well, that would be a help, I think, or have somebody at Eastern Iowa Airport, block the plane and everything from coming in. But, if you try to rationalize this on paper, Iowa doesn't have much of an opportunity. Yeah. Iowa is they're decent in some areas. They have an outstanding point guard, as good as they've had since B.J. Armstrong, in my opinion. I think Bennett Sturts is that good, and if he had two other guys with him who equaled his production, that I think people could see him as an MVP candidate in the Big Ten. He's truly as good as that gets, but Michigan's going to be smart and go after him and force him to do things. And can anybody else step up around him? It's been very inconsistent. They've spent quite a bit of money in the portal, and the results have been mixed. The guys that Ben McCollum brought with him at Drake are try hard, tough guys who play hard. They're not real talented. And then some of the guys that he brought in have been real inconsistent. Alvaro Fulgaris against Ohio State was tremendous. He looked like the player that's what they paid all that money for. And then against Penn State, his plus minus was minus 15, and they lose by 2 at Penn State. And so that's an embarrassment for this time of year. And it probably will force them to be a 9 seed in the tournament and play whatever the 17 or whomever, and right off the bat. And so I think tonight they've got like a 5% chance.
Okay.
And not much, but just like 1 out of every 20 games. I mean, because the Big Ten, if Michigan is, we're talking about young people still, and if Michigan gets into a little bit of a funk early, Iowa scores a lot early, can get the crowd, which is coming back, involved, and then you get inside of the final 10 minutes, and if it's a close competitive game, that's when the better team starts to pucker up a little bit. Right. And if you're Michigan, you're kind of looking at it as what have we got to win here? What's the big advantage other than just another notch on our belt? And so you're going to Iowa, and maybe you're looking at it as an automatic win, and you take them lightly. Iowa plays its best game, its final home game of the season, and voila. I mean, they're number one in turnover margin, and they're number one in scoring defense. Their tempo is so completely different from what they had under Fran McCaffrey. Right. But that being said, they've got some serious issues with scoring, and consistency there. Sure. And if Michigan plays a normal game, Michigan wins by 10. If Michigan plays better than that, then just shoot the score up.
Scott Docterman from The Athletic. Great job on that piece with the rivalries, and hope I'll see you in Chicago.
Yep, I will. I'll be there. So I look forward to seeing you, Jack.
All right. We're going to stay right here, Rob. I'm glad that we got Deshaun Tate on the line here. Want to welcome in our Lansing-bred, Atlanta-based basketball savant, Tate's Take Hoops, where basketball lives. This is your month, Deshaun. What special family arrangements and allowances do you have to make in the Tate household with your significant other and with young Breslin, Breslyn? And in terms of your other work with the NBA, and I know you're paying attention to a lot of other things basketball related, how do you find enough hours in a day to make that happen?
Yeah, or sleep, or eat dinner, or just do anything like regular people do.
Yeah.
No such thing, really, to be honest with you, Jack, and thanks for having me, by the way. I don't know, the significant other and all that has a, birthday in a couple days. So I'm like, couldn't your mom just hold off for a little longer or get her business going a little earlier than she did? But it's she kind of gets shafted a little bit in that regard. So it kind of stinks. But hey, I signed up for certain things, as did you. That's how I like to think of it. But no, we make fun of, the whole thing. It's March. It's the best time of the year. Everybody knows that. I'm super excited. It may not sound like it, but just really, really excited for March Madness, and obviously saving all these keeping planes in the air. I don't have to worry about nearly as much this time of the year because while everybody else is taking their vacations for Christmas and during the summer, I save mine up for March. So a lot of basketball this month, and I'm sure that doesn't surprise anyone.
Delta's air travel will continue with you on the road in the tournament trail.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
That is good to know, and you want to tell us where you will be for the next several weeks. I know you're going to be at the Final Four, right? You are every year now. But do you have your plans set for the regionals or before that?
Yeah, obviously not knowing where I'm going yet. We'll find out a whole lot more on the 15th of in about 10 days on the 15th of March for Selection Sunday, and then we'll know a little bit more at that time, of course. But I've got it all planned out, man. We use our Wednesdays for travel days, and then the Thursday and Thursday and Saturday game, or the Friday and Sunday game, and then get on back here and start revamping the whole thing up to get ready to do it all over again for the following weekend, Sweet 16 and Elite 8. So I usually send everybody. It's a going out of business sale at the Tate residence. Everything must go. Dogs, baby, significant. It doesn't matter. Everybody must go. I usually take everybody to Florida for the month of March because I'm not much help for anybody around this time of the year. So get a little bit of peace and quiet and really start locking into the best time of the year.
Deshaun, do you have a favorite site for regional action or for a Final Four? And do you have a favorite game of all the ones that you have seen and covered?
So this will probably be my 11th consecutive, I believe, Final Four, 11 or 12. Started in 2015. I don't know about a favorite game, but there's definitely some fantastic moments. We've seen a buzzer beater from San Diego State during that time a couple years ago. There's a 16 seed beating a 1 that I was front and center for with one of my best friends.
Yes.
There was the North Carolina Villanova over North Carolina. For, for the championship. Yes. That was one.
That's right.
I feel like there's another buzzer beater. The guy who played at Gonzaga, now point guard with the Orlando Magic.
Suggs.
Missing me for some reason. Suggs hitting a buzzer beater in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
The last time that it was played in Indy, I believe is where that one was located.
That's right.
So there's some good. Can we forget about Duke losing to North Carolina on Coach K's lap? There's been a lot of great moments, Jack. There's been so many. I don't know why that one was last. I guess I saved the best. But there's been so many great moments of all of this thing. I think it's just being able to get together with all the guys. The best game, that one is really, really tough. But, I mean, again, probably Indianapolis probably just does the best for Final Four. Madison Square Garden, got a chance to check out Michigan State, and, of course, it resulted in a loss against Kansas State in that one, unfortunately. But there's been so many great ones, Jack. There really, really has.
We had more fun in Madison Square Garden for the Champions Classic, right?
Yes, we
this
did.
year. That was big fun. Michigan State, Kentucky, and Duke and Kansas. But I wanted to get your take now, and again. There's a lot of basketball to be played at the collegiate level, your love, but so many freshmen this year.
Yeah.
I mean, you look around the country at Illinois and Kansas and BYU and Duke and, Arkansas, right?
Arkansas.
Yeah. You got freshmen who could be in the top 5 or 6 picks. I mean, it could be all freshmen. And we're not talking about international players. I'm sure there will be a couple who will push their way in there. But you've got as many freshmen who could be National Player of the Year as I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you think that's Cameron Boozer's to lose or what?
For Player of the Year, I think it is. You've got some other guys that are in conversation probably for that, but I'm not sure that there's been anybody that has been as consistent. You've got you've got guys that's had some 40-point nights and pretty close to some 50-point games, but I don't think anybody's been as consistent as Booz has been on both. Not just on the offensive side, obviously on the defensive side, but even from a rebounding standpoint and leading their team to victories, and without him, I can imagine how difficult things can get for some of these programs. But I mean, Arizona's another one. I mean, the list kind of goes on and on and on. I mean, talking about these freshmen, I'm a believer that for this particular class, who knows? You might get the number 11th pick in the draft and end up with the best player in this whole class.
Right.
And not only that, but it could be someone who gets picked number 11th in this draft, and in any other year, it would be the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. That's how. It's not just about necessarily the talent, even though it is a lot of talent here in this draft. I don't know if I'll go as far as saying generational. That word gets so loosely thrown around nowadays, Jack. I'm not sure what the definition is anymore. But I will say that I think the most impressive thing about it is that it's so deep of really good talent. It doesn't have to be generational. It doesn't have to be great talent. Really, really good talent that I think in most cases, every year, I always end up saying, somebody's always saying, oh, this guy's a pro, or this guy's ready to take the jump to the next level. And the NBA draft was so predicated at one point in time about, drafting a guy who's ready to make an impact at the next level. Now it's not that anymore. It's let's, stash a guy away for 3 and 4 years and see what he ends up being from there. Right. I think some of these guys actually in this particular draft is ready to contribute at the next level. How much? that determines to be,
Remains to be seen,
but
yeah.
I do think that there are some guys that are ready for the next level.
Deshaun, everyone knows that the Big Ten's last national champion was 26 seasons ago with Michigan State.
I get reminded far.
Yeah, I
get
imagine you
reminded
do.
far too often, Jack.
And the Big Ten has had so many teams and so many chances, even getting to not just the Final Four, but to the championship game. You look at Indiana, you look at Ohio State, Illinois, Michigan a couple times, Michigan State, Wisconsin. And so they've all had their shot at it. But it's been 37 years, the last 37 seasons, and the Big Ten has won one national championship. Is this year that changes?
Wow. I don't think it does, but it can. If it does happen, probably the best feeling that I have of that is probably going to be Michigan. I'm sure that probably doesn't surprise and does surprise some of our listeners. Probably,
right.
As good of a season as they've been having all year, it's not going to be Nebraska, although I do think that they are probably the most improved team this year. I know Virginia and maybe, I'm sure Miami, Ohio is going to feel a way about me calling, Nebraska the most improved, but I don't anticipate that it'll be any of those teams. I think if there is one, then it would be Michigan, and I don't think that it's going to end up being any representative from the Big Ten.
Deshaun, thanks for joining us. Glad we caught up with you, and I'm hoping that at some point our paths will cross along the tournament trail. It's possible that if Michigan State is the 2 seed in the East, coming to Washington, D.C., that might be a convenient trip for you. Duke would be there if it wins games that everyone expects. And then who knows? We might wind up back in Indianapolis as we were in 2015, your first Final Four, and Michigan State and Wisconsin there. So maybe this will be a year again when they get 2 Big Ten teams in the Final Four.
Well, I'm not thrilled about the long haul so far away from East Lansing, but if they are going to find a way to put Michigan State some far away, can we just make it San Diego and just put on some shorts and some suntan lotion and all that good stuff? Let's just make that happen.
Okay,
I'm great with that.
Okay, and Mr. Delta, he gets free flights here, Rob, so he doesn't care what the airfares are. Deshaun, thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you guys for having me. Great job, Boston Rob.
All right. Want to thank all of our guests, but before we do that, Rob, I got to take 1 minute and talk to you about, we know that Michigan State women's basketball in action. A game is starting shortly at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, and the Spartans really need a win tonight over Illinois if they have any hope of hosting these games. But we also have hockey tonight in Minneapolis. What do you think? Is this a night that Michigan State gets 3 points?
They take care of business.
They do.
5 points.
5 points. Wow. So if they get 3 tonight and not 2 tonight and 3 on Friday, then they would lock up the outright Big Ten championship and the 1 seed in the tournament.
Make it 3 in a row, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. All right. Well, that's going to be big fun and something else for fans to follow tonight. Those who are not going to be at Breslin Center for Rutgers MSU on senior night. I want to thank all of our guests today. Really appreciate Tony Garcia joining us, covering Michigan basketball, and Deshaun Moore in court. He's got that tomorrow morning, and then I will see him Sunday at Chrysler Center. Tom Crawford and I will be doing a lot of podcasts associated with that. I want to thank Randy Kinder for joining us. Standout, East Lansing, football and track. And then on to Notre Dame, one of Lou's lads, talking about Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz had 249 wins, one shy of 250. It's the 9th most of any major college coach, passing away at age 89. Appreciate Jackie and Brian Ness, the fabulous Flying Nesses from Boise, Idaho. Scott Docterman from The Athletic, talking about rivalries and the Iowa Hawkeyes. and to Sean Tate. Have a great night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.